Good evening, everybody, and it's In the SAC with Dr. Sarah. We've been on a hiatus for 2 weeks. I am so excited to be back doing shows, and tonight I have a really exciting guest. I have Thomas Edwards. He is the real-life wingman. So all you boys out there, this is your guy. Welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Tell me how you got your start as being a professional such as Will Smith hitch.
Okay. I'll give the truncated version a little bit. So
we're into whatever.
Yeah. So back when I was a sophomore in high school, in college, I thought I found the one.
Okay.
And I went as far as asking her parents for their blessing, which they did give to me.
Did you?
Yes. I was very old school. Very old school in my courtship.
I like that.
And a week later, I got a call from her, and she admitted that she cheated on me with some random guy from her class. So needless to say, I was pretty heartbroken.
Of course you are.
And I went through a lot of different phases of what I like to categorize as a quarter-life crisis. I transferred schools. I went off campus, lived with a bunch of guys. I bought a car. I got a job to pay for said car. It was all these are very ridiculous things that I thought could replace my loss, but it just never happened.
Did it feel good at the time, though, to replace them with that?
For about 5 seconds. Okay. And then when I realized I had all these responsibilities now, I was then left with is there more to life than this?
Right.
And so I ended up doing a little bit more soul searching, came across a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Really changed my life, my perspective on what I thought, how I should take care of myself, how I should communicate, how I should negotiate. Being unapologetic for what I want and being able to uphold those standards of other people.
Right.
That got me really excited. So I was a sponge for the next 2.5 years, reading all kinds of books on personal development. So nutrition, fashion, lifestyle, sex, relationships, communication, fitness, whatever it was, I wanted to do it. And I decided to practice some of those things while I was in college. And fast forward to my senior year.
Practice having sex?
There was sex. Sex was involved, yeah. I can see that.
A lot of that might happen.
Yeah, sex was involved.
A lot of sacking.
Yeah, a lot of sacking was going on.
Sorry to interrupt. Where does my mind go?
It's fine. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of sex was going on. Yeah. So it's come my senior year. I'm living like Van Wilder. If for those who might know who Van Wilder is.
Love Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, awesome. And I was living the life of a rock star on campus. You know, guys wanted to hang out with me, women wanted to be with me, and life was good. I was single by choice, so naturally a lot of sex was happening, and life was good.
You needed a nap for that.
At the time, I wish I did.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So I ended up deciding, I thought my life would be more fruitful if I shared my success with someone else. That meant a lot to me. So ended up dating a cheerleader. She was awesome, and we started dating within a couple of weeks.
What school was this?
Philadelphia University. Yeah, in Philadelphia, if you didn't know.
Sounds like UConn in Connecticut.
It could have very well been. It could have been, absolutely.
Yeah.
So at that point, I felt like, I had it all. You know, if any college guy, if you're out there and maybe you're in college or you're back in grad school and you had a bucket list of all the things you wanted to accomplish while you're in college, I checked them all off, just so you know. And I thought to myself, there's nothing else I need to do. I can just coast the rest of my way through college. I can moonwalk across the stage of graduation. Everything was cool. And that level of cockiness, that complacency that I had, led to my demise. And so only a few months later, after not doing the things that got me to where I was, like working out, going to class, being involved in the organizations I was involved in, neglecting my friends, neglecting my girlfriend.
Apart, eventually.
Yeah. And so she called me during spring break, and she said, Thomas, you're not the same guy I started dating 3 months ago. I just don't really see us working out. So I'm thinking to myself,
here we are again. Here we are, heartbreak again.
And I got really depressed, and things continued to fall apart. And there was one weekend where I got incredibly sick, confined to the bed sick. Probably should have went to the hospital sick.
Okay.
And that became the lowest point in my life because I then realized I had no one to call to bring me orange juice, let alone try to take care of me.
I've been there. I totally understand. I had the flu my junior year, and I was not dating anybody, and I was Nobody would even bring me popsicles.
Yeah,
I needed
right?
popsicles.
Yeah, like I couldn't even find someone to even do that, or even just complain about the fact that I was sick.
Yeah.
No one was returning my calls, so I ended up calling the one person that would answer. It was my mom.
Me too.
Right, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Hi, Mom. And she said, listen, get your act together, finish up school, pursue your job in video games like you've always wanted to.
Right.
And I was going to school to make video games, and that was really important to me. So I barely graduated, like crawled across the stage, graduated, and came back here to Boston,
Okay.
and was introduced to the job market of 2008, which was really shitty, as we all know. And in that time period, I ended up working in hotels. So I was working at the Ritz-Carlton, the old Ritz-Carlton, which is now the Taj.
Okay.
Spent some time at the Sheraton, and I was also at the Back Bay Hotel, which is now the Lowe's. And
The Lowe's Hotel is great. I stayed there on New Year's Eve, by the way. John Mayback,
yes.
best manager.
Oh,
Just got to give him a little throw out. Thank you. That all worked out.
Totally. So yeah, although I was happy with where I wasn't happy enough. I knew that although I was having fun doing the whole like hotel thing,
Right.
I knew I wanted to be passionate about what I did. And just in case the whole video game thing didn't work out, I wanted to find another passion I could monetize from. And I realized, well, I just spent the past 4 years on personal development. Maybe there's something there.
Right.
So I ended up creating a blog as a way to chronicle my own development being back here in Boston, being legally able to drink and hang out. And
That's a milestone.
yeah, absolutely. And then I also did it because I wanted to hold myself accountable. So in the event that I was able to like create the kind of life that I had
Right.
in college, that I would not take it for granted and basically throw it away like I did the last time. Well, that blog was my platform to really develop myself and build an audience. So a lot of people were reading it, loving what I was writing. My tipping point was when I was dating someone who was 19 years older than me. So I was 23 at the time. She was 42. We dated for a few months, and at that time, it was the best relationship I've ever had.
Was
It's
it?
amazing.
Really?
It changed my whole perspective on like relationships, women, communication, everything.
Okay, so we won't call it dating, but I've been into the younger guys. Call it dating or whatever, or sacking.
Exactly.
How did that work? I mean, I found that we didn't really have much in common outside of sacking.
So you would think that initially, right? But I think for me at that time, I was in such a good place that the fact that our commonality was where we were in our lives and what we needed,
Right.
we realized that we needed each other, and we knew that it wasn't going to be like a long-term thing.
So you're both in it, not in it to win it.
We're not, well, we did win. We won many times. Let me just say that. We won many, many times.
Yeah.
But it was more about, in this time in our lives, we needed each other.
Right.
And it was kind of like we were transitioning from a different phase, and we just met each other at the right time. And our communication was at an all-time level. So we were totally transparent, totally honest with each other, and it just made things easier. So there wasn't a burden of responsibility. We weren't hiding things from each other. It was super, super easy. And at that time, I was thinking to myself,
I'm the man.
yes, one, I'm the man, and two, couldn't all relationships be this way?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be amazing? So
So
I went on this journey of trying to discover that and determine like what were the things that I was doing that allowed that relationship to manifest itself.
Okay.
I blogged about it, people loved it, and then they realized, wow, like you must have this like old soul about yourself. I bet you could help other people find success as well. What would you do in this situation? So then my blog turned into an advice column where I started giving people advice. Fast forward, because we need to end the story, fast forward to March of 2009, I'm at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life. I was over being in hotels, and I wanted to make money, and I knew I couldn't do it making video games because jobs just weren't available, yeah. Well, I was at a bar playing pool with a buddy of mine, and he said, dude, I don't know how you're able to actually like go up and talk to women. This is amazing. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's whatever. He goes, no. We're putting this to work. There's a really cute woman over there. I want you to go over there and talk with her. Talk me up to her and introduce us so we can go on a date.
Right.
I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, how am I supposed to do that? And he goes, I don't care how you do it, but if you do, I'll pay for all your drinks the entire weekend.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, challenge accepted. So I walked over there, chatted her up. I introduced them, and he ended up getting her number. And then I got a text from her the next day saying, Thomas, just got on my lunch date with her. She's awesome. Let me know where you are tonight. Drinks are on me.
Okay.
Thanks for being my wingman. And I thought to myself, man, it'd be really cool to facilitate introductions and get open bar for a lifetime. I'm not sure what the life expectancy of that would be. But I figured there was a lot of value in teaching others how to do it on their own.
Right.
And so I've decided to go pro and become a professional wingman.
And here he is today.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it now. That's so crazy. He's got the craziest story. You can read about him online and everything. But the reason we met was through a friend, and we were talking about like relationships, hooking up. Like that's why I made my app. It's educational. It's fun. It's your electronic black book, essentially. Like you said, that the Brittany Murphy movie.
Yeah, Brittany Murphy had the show Little Black Book.
Right.
And I think it's a modern day version of that.
It is. It definitely is. You can, for fun, keep track of who you're hooking up with because, I mean, like you in college, we're hooking up like crazy.
I wouldn't say like crazy.
You always 10% not a lie.
No. Don't think that I was like the man. Trust me, I was not the man.
If we review this, you said you were the man in the beginning of this segment.
No, not like.
I tease.
Not like, you know.
But anyway, everybody's having a good time and stuff. But it's good to know.
Well, I think it's really interesting because I think a lot of people have this controversy about tracking your dating life.
Yeah.
To the point where you have organization through spreadsheets and.
Right. Like that other app, the spreadsheet app that got released because it wasn't very private. The man that was dating. Was he married?
No, he wasn't married. He
was
actually single.
His real life spreadsheet.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there was a guy who had a spreadsheet tracking all of his dates from like where he took them to what he was wearing to if he had sex with them and every date thereafter. And it's a huge spreadsheet and it got leaked and released online.
Yeah.
And you know, like for a guy like him, I kind of feel bad because if you're going on a lot of dates, you don't want to be the guy that shows up wearing the same thing you wore on date 2 to date 3 and taking her to the same place. And so if you're in that kind of situation where that could lose your mind, like, you know, slip past your mind.
If you're dating a serial dater.
Oh, totally. I think it could be really helpful. Now, publicizing it and putting it online, I'm not for that.
No. And actually, our app's super private, and we make sure that you can't get into it. We actually had a professional company do it, so you can't get hacked in the SAC.
But
it's private.
But I think there is significance in being able to track and measure how successful or unsuccessful your dating life is. Like if you're constantly going on first dates and you're not getting many second dates, something's going on.
And that's a good way to gauge, maybe I gotta take a step back, hire Thomas to come out with me.
That's what I'm here for.
And see what I'm doing wrong. But that's seriously true. Like, you know, you go on so many dates, and a lot of people get discouraged after going on Match.com and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're online dating, like you're trying to source a lot of dates, especially if you're not out there trying to meet people in person.
Yeah.
So you have to have a level of organization. And sometimes, if you're getting a lot of dates online, managing those dates through those accounts are not going to be enough.
No.
Especially if you're...
Forget their name. I mean, I could see that happening. I forget people's name. I'm getting old.
Yeah, you forget names, screen names, like their likes, dislikes, what they wrote in their profile. Sometimes you might bring up something that you already wrote in their profile on the first date. And all of a sudden you're kind of like, well, we talked about that already over the email.
How boring is this? Yeah. Awkward. It gets awkward fast.
I think in today's world where there's a lot of distraction and it's hard to really focus on many things, it can be helpful to privatize your organization of your dating life. And I'm not saying everyone needs to get a spreadsheet. I mean, if you're capable of...
The SAC app.
Yeah, you could...
Actually, everybody should get the SAC app.
Everyone should SAC it for sure. You know, but there needs to be a level of organization that takes place in your dating life so you have an idea of like, where am I right now? Am I doing well? Am I doing this in vain? Or are there things I could work on?
Repeating my mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I get an STD? Who gave it to me? I mean, it's all real. I just had Corey Fettman. She is out. She's a Chicago lawyer, divorce lawyer actually, and she was saying a lot of people now in the dating world, they're just jumping into the SAC and not thinking twice about where that person's been. You know nothing, not even in 3 months, like she said, about that person. Would you agree?
I totally agree, and I think part of it is because people are fearful of asking that question.
I think that's true. Yeah, they don't want to know.
Personally, for me, I always ask the question, like.
Well, not anymore. He's off the market, ladies.
Off the market now. But in my time, when I was getting to that level, right before the opportunity was going to happen, for things to happen, I would ask, like.
And how did the girls take that question? Did some get insulted, or?
I might have been like an anomaly, admittedly, but every woman that I ended up having sex with felt very like assured and comforted and acknowledged by the fact that I was willing to say, listen, like, we don't have to do this, or I have a condom, or if you prefer not to. Because you never know. Like, think about the idea of a condom, right? Yep. It's there for your protection. But what if someone's allergic to latex?
I had a friend who was, and she used the lamb's wool, and guess what? She got pregnant.
Yeah. So even those things are things to consider, and you can't ever figure those things out unless you talk about them. But we're so fearful.
That's the point.
Because we feel like, oh, it's so hot and heavy. If I were to mention something like this,
they're gonna get mad and not want to sleep with me.
All of a sudden things will happen. But that's not the case. Like, when you're at that point, there are very few things you can do where it can ruin the mood. You know what I mean? So
I'd be like, I got a genital wart, so you know.
Yeah.
And we don't want to hear that.
That'd be one of the few things.
So if people are looking to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you now? Because you are all over the place. You're in LA and New York.
I am everywhere. The best way you can track me is actually on Twitter. So I'm at twitter.com/Thomas H. Edwards. There you'll be able to see what city I'm in a given day, what I'm doing, what I'm up to. But if you want to know more about what I do as a social skills strategist, you can go to theprofessionalwingman.com.
Great. Thanks for being my guest. And Kevin Hart, you better watch out. This man's coming for you.
Don't compete with me.
Don't compete with him.
You're six years behind.
Way behind in your movie skills, bro.
I love you, bro.
Tonight in the SAC with Dr. Sarah, we have a great lineup. We're going to talk about the testing that I've been talking about, the campaign with Corey Fettman and Blair Nastasi. Corey is a Chicago attorney who sometimes goes by the nickname the Love Lawyer. She's also known for one of her controversial sayings on a billboard, "Life is short, get a divorce." She is a preeminent family lawyer, and she used to model for Playboy magazine. Blair is from Media Mogul's PR firm, and they have an interesting little slogan, "Not your grandpa's PR firm." These two guests have something in common with me. Their goal is to get 5,000 people tested for STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, as well as the SAC app is joining them on this campaign. Up first, we have Blair. Blair, actually, your PR firm helped to launch this campaign. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how it got started?
Definitely. So I was working with one of my clients, PriceDate.com, which is a new dating platform that has a bit of a twist. So in researching some statistics about online dating, we inadvertently came across a frightening statistic, which is that online dating leads to higher STI transmission rates. So I was talking to Alex Greenberg, who's the founder of PriceDate, and he agreed that we really needed to do something about this. He strongly felt that as an online dating platform, we had an obligation to bring this to people's attention and set out to turn those numbers around. So that's what gave us the idea for the campaign, and that's how we got started.
Right, which is kind of scary out there in the dating world if this is all occurring, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And then the worst part is people aren't even aware of it. So that's the idea, is to bring it to their attention, and then once we have their attention, we can educate them on how they can change it and hopefully make a difference.
Well, I totally agree. Corey, how did your law firm become part of this campaign?
Well, Blair and I have worked on other projects, and Blair was telling me about this campaign. I thought it would be a good fit because a lot of my clients who are going through a divorce try online dating while they're either going through their divorce or after their divorce, hopefully after their divorce. And I had no idea the statistics were that high, and I'm totally a proponent of safe sex, so I thought it would be a great fit.
Definitely. I find a lot of people, too, when I'm working with the SAC app that are getting divorced, and a lot of them don't realize that how prominent the STDs are. There's like the villages in Florida. That's one of the highest incidents of STDs around in the United States. So I find that to be crazy.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't know that.
I think we've become a society of instant intimacy and hookups.
Yep.
So as a result, safe sex falls by the wayside, and then when it's too late, people are sorry because they go and they get, then they get tested, and all of a sudden they've got an STD.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about it ahead of time, and I think it's great that this ad campaign educates people.
Yeah, I agree. Corey, also, tell us a little bit about your background. It's quite a switch from Playboy model to attorney.
How much time do you have?
I actually would love to come to Chicago and talk to you. You have an amazing story, so just give us a brief synopsis of it.
Brief synopsis.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I'm an attorney. I practice in divorce, employment law, entertainment law. I'm known for my divorce because of the ad campaign that I launched. I do a lot of transactional work for corporate clients also as well. But my firm was placed on the map and became an international overnight success when I launched this billboard ad campaign with two scantily clad, a female and a male, and the tagline was "Life short, get a divorce." It basically changed the way lawyers advertise, got crazy statistics, and then thereafter the city of Chicago pulled down the billboard, claiming that there was no permits, but it was basically because people here were going crazy.
So they didn't like it, or were they objecting to?
You know what? I got both. As you well know, and as Blair knows, any type of advertising is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you're still putting yourself out there, and you're still, emanating a message.
Yep.
So I got good and bad, and still get play from it, which
That's
says
awesome.
a lot because it was launched back in 2007.
Yep.
From that point forward, I was thrust into the media. Playboy called, said, "Hey, we want to do." They had no idea that it was me on the billboard, by the way, at the time, because I posed for the
Oh,
photos.
okay.
So we did the quote-unquote reveal in Playboy. They did. I went and did a test shoot, and we did 4 more shoots. I was at Playboy Studio West in California, and did some in New York. From there, 2008, they set forth my reveal that I was on the billboard, as well as naked photos, and then also launched my Love Lawyer advice column.
Oh,
So I had an
nice.
advice column as well on Playboy.com.
And are you still doing that?
I just took my advice columns actually and put them into a book, and the book is with an agent. So I'm hoping to get a publishing deal.
Oh my God, you're living my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did our campaign. Our slogan is doesn't matter who you go home with, just as long as you keep it in your sack. So
I like that.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of it. But here in Boston, I'm finding people are not as likely to talk about sex life, which is kind of interesting because they are kind of
conservative out there.
very conservative. Maybe I just don't fit
Very.
in the Boston area, my product.
But Chicago's very conservative too.
Yeah.
Which is why I gotta heat.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that billboard story. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I did launch other campaigns, but they didn't get as much play. And I have a new business campaign coming out soon, but I haven't launched it yet. And that's primarily what Blair and I were talking about. So that'll be coming out soon.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you.
So, Blair, tell us about some of your other clients besides Corey.
Wow. Well, Corey is hard to follow. I'm afraid I don't have a story that's quite that interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's okay. But to sum it up, most of my work has been with startup companies or nonprofits.
Okay.
I tend to gravitate towards clients and businesses that have some type of cause-related initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I really like working with clients who have some type of vision that can impact the world and really make a difference. So, that doesn't, encompass all of my clients, but primarily that's what I like to work with.
Right. Well, I think we could be a potential for you.
The SAC impacts the world.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's like your little electronic black book, but for good purposes. Because of the STDs, you need to track down. I mean, girls in their 20s are sleeping around a little bit more. I mean, I guess when I was at UConn 10 years ago, everybody was kind of sleeping around then, but we didn't have the iPhone or apps. But I think it would be a good idea.
Do you remember that? Sarah, do you remember that Sex and the City episode where Miranda finds out that she has chlamydia and she has to contact? That's really what it's about.
Right. Yeah, she had to call them all. Yeah, that's actually a good clip.
Remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was like, who did I get this from? And called everybody. I remember that episode very well.
And things are worse now with all the online dating and Tinder and all that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely with the online dating. Because everybody, they're meeting up, they're hooking up. They're not thinking about it. Alcohol's probably involved. And, I think it'd be best if you did track it on your app. But, we'll see.
It's a great idea.
Thank you. Guys, tell us about why you chose this campaign to get involved with. I know that PriceDate.com is also a sponsor in the campaign.
As far as my involvement in PriceDate's involvement, basically we just noticed STI transmission has become an epidemic, and like you guys were just talking about, there's such a lower barrier of entry due to online dating. Apps like Tinder. People are hooking up now more than ever, and so we just thought we needed to spearhead a campaign to bring this issue to the forefront, because it's something that really no one wants to talk about, but it needs to be talked about if we want to, make any change at all.
Right. Well, I agree with you. Like I was saying, here in Boston, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. We'll do a lot of parties, and people just get so shy, and it's like it shouldn't be a topic not spoken of anymore.
Yeah, I find it interesting that people don't want to talk about it, but they're doing it. To me, that just I'm not going to talk about this.
Right.
That this is an issue, but I'm going to go, meet some guy I met on Tinder and hook up with it. That's okay, but talking about it is not okay.
Right.
Do they talk about it with their friends though, or their girlfriends?
Definitely. That's where I got the idea. Go ahead.
I think even when people talk about it with their friends, it's not so much the issue of the STI transmission rate. It's more or less, oh, I did this or I did that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily addressing the issues that are involved with that behavior.
Right. Well, how's our testing coming along? How's the contest going so far?
It's going well. The challenging part about testing is in regard to the HIPAA laws. So we've seen a big increase in traffic to the campaign site. We've got quite a few email inquiries. We've got quite a bit of interest in the campaign. As far as getting people to go out and get tested, the best way we've found to quantify that is just by getting people to share our message, post our message, or if they feel comfortable, take photos of themselves at the testing location and share them. So
have they done that?
Yeah, we had to get a bit creative just to kind of get the message out there and get people willing to share the fact that they're getting tested. But that's at least one way to quantify it and hopefully get the message out and get people signed up.
Right. I think once people start seeing what we're doing, I think they're gonna love it and want to get involved.
Exactly. I agree.
What's the biggest bit of advice you would offer someone who's on the dating scene about STDs and what they should be aware of?
So sorry, go ahead.
You both can answer.
My advice is always wear a condom. I mean, you don't know who you're sleeping with or who that person slept with or how many times they are, a lot of people have, which astounds me. I don't even know how this happens, but I don't know why it astounds me. People have more than one date on one night or more than one hookup in one night.
Ew.
So how do you, if they're sleeping with that person, then you're about, who the hell knows where they've been.
Right.
I don't mean to sound so trashy about it, but God only knows where they've
it's
been.
true. And we can say that.
Person. You don't even know that person you don't even know that person even after 3 months.
No, you really don't.
I hate to say that. People think that this is the problem with society now. People think that just because they're emailing you or they're texting you or you're on social media that you know that person. They think that those people are their friends. That's another misconception about social media. Those people are not your friends. They don't know you, and you don't know this person.
You don't know what
Unless
they're doing.
You've been dating them right. You don't know what they're doing their time, and you don't know how many people they've slept with.
Right.
And they're not going to tell you that they have an STD because they don't want to talk about it. The same reason that we're telling everybody to get tested.
Right. Yeah.
Or even worse, they may not even know they have one because they haven't been tested.
It's definitely true. I'm seeing.
It's scary.
And seeing more and more people actually, because like myself, I'm single still. I'm in my 30s, and I'm seeing more and more people come up. Like I would never think in your 30s that you could come up with an STD. It sounds like a 20-year-old college girl problem, but it's not because people aren't getting married quickly anymore. So.
No, look at the statistics for people over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
scary.
It is scary. I'm glad that
nobody has responsibility anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit on the social media end. It's good, it's bad. It's good for our business, but on the other side,
Great for my business. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So I mean, but in the date, I think it's changed up the dating world. I mean, it's difficult to date. It's difficult to even get to know anybody anymore.
People don't date.
No, they don't. You don't get it last out. Yeah, nobody asks you to dinner anymore. A couple dinners. No, they just want to have some drinks and hook up right after immediately. So
Exactly.
So
And I'm sorry, but they've ruined it for other people.
yeah, I agree. I think that's why I'm still single, because I'm not that girl that's gonna go home with you after 2 drinks, fellas. So
I'm still single too, sweetie.
we're smart.
And everybody thinks I'm promiscuous just because I pose in Playboy, which
Right.
is another misconception.
Exactly. I mean, that's the same thing about the SAC app. They'll think that I'm super slutty, and that's why I made it. No, I made it for educational purposes, fun, sex, and everything else. So
Right.
whatever, they need to get
I'm
it.
not giving it up just because my photos are out there. Sorry.
Exactly. Actually, speaking.
You can't touch.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I do like the advice of the condoms. Actually, One Condoms here in Boston is working with us, and they're involved, and you can actually win 1,000 condoms from them if you complete the test. Correct, Blair?
That is correct. So the way we set it up was one winner will win a 1-year supply of condoms, and then 2 winners will win 6 months supply of condoms.
Yeah.
How do you know what a year's supply of condoms is if somebody's getting it out every day?
Actually, that's a good point.
Significantly more than
Yeah.
I'm just going with an average of 1 per day.
So it might be like leftovers, right?
Right.
Depending on how popular someone is, I guess.
Yeah, it's one big box of condoms. We have them for our promotional stuff, so I know what they're getting in the mail. There's a lot of condoms there, so.
Are they colored? Do they have like different things?
Yeah, they have the best sayings on them. I can't think of them, but like some will glow in the dark, some have flavor.
Cool.
Yeah, they have really cool packaging. I can send you some pictures of them, but they're really funny, and people tend to want them when we're out, more so than anything, even a t-shirt, which is weird. But anyway, our t-shirts say I'm good in the sack, so I would think they'd want that.
Oh my God.
Yep. So
You must get a lot of play on that.
yeah, they do like that a lot too. So, Blair, where can people get in touch with you to learn more about the campaign?
Yeah, so right now we're promoting the campaign on Twitter. We've got a few infographics that we're circulating just to get some of the facts out about the STI transmission rate.
Mm-hmm.
We have an interview series on examiner.com, and then we're also running a media outreach campaign. So within the coming weeks, we should have some more interviews coming out and some stories about the campaign, just so we can get in touch with more people and get more people signed up.
Right.
If people are interested in learning more or want to get in touch with me, they can reach me at blair@mediamogulspr.com or connect with Media Moguls PR on Twitter.
Great. And they can also send us some Instagrams with the hashtag #WrapIt, hashtag 5,000 test challenge, hashtag get tested, and hashtag safer online dating. We'd love to see your photos. So if you go out there and you get tested, please send us your stuff on Instagram. How do they win the contest?
That's a good question. So the way we have the contest set up is you can get an entry for taking certain actions. So if you send out a tweet, or an Instagram with any of those hashtags that Sarah mentioned, you get 1 entry. If you follow us, me, Price Date, you, Corey, or you, Sarah, on Twitter, they get another entry. If they take a picture of themselves at their testing location, they get 5 entries.
Mm-hmm.
If they send us a message with the date and time of their testing location, they get 5 entries. So they get more entries for actually sending us, I guess, a little proof that they got tested, but they also get entries for sharing the message. So one person could feasibly get multiple entries into the contest. And then at the end, so the contest ends mid-February. When the contest is over, we'll select the 3 winners by random and then contact them.
And then do you post them at somewhere?
Once we have the winners chosen, we'll announce it. We'll contact them because we'll have their email address in the database, but we'll also announce it on Twitter and other social media as well.
It's a great contest. Everybody really should sign up and join us on our little adventure. So, all right, well, thank you ladies for joining me tonight. This is a very interesting conversation, and I love working with you guys. So we'll send you all the information later this week. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you
Have a
soon.
great day.
Bye.